Caseus, Jedi Master. Chapter 13. As the nebulous flew through hyperspace, Caseus sat at the workbench with his tools, fixing up his lightsaber. Had he had the resources allowed by the temple years ago, this would have been a quick fix. But his supplies were limited. The blaster shot from Boba's rifle had nearly hit the crystal chamber, and left a large hole exposing the inner mechanisms. Add to that, the stabilizing ring had been damaged, meaning that even if he got his weapon working before they reached Bespin, the blade would be unstable and would cause a lot of trouble.
What you doing?
Caseus looked down at Pip, who was staring at him. I'm fixing up my lightsaber. It's not looking too promising at the moment. Pip climbed up on top of the workbench, much to the annoyance of Caseus, and stared at the saber, tapping his head.
Looks like it needs a new stabilizing ring.
Yeah, I figured that out already. Unless you've got one of those lying around, I'll thank you to lead me to my work.
Nope. But maybe there's one here on the ship.
Not likely.
Don't be a doubter. First Mate Pip is on the job, Captain.
First Mate?
You said it. No taking it back now.
Pip hopped down from the bench and ran off to the back of the ship as Caseus sighed and cleaned off the scouring marks left on the hilt. It had been a while since he'd taken a close look at his weapon. Like many Padawans, Caseus based the design of his saber off that of his master's. She was so proud of him when he built it. Before he could continue reminiscing on the past, he heard a loud clanging from the back of the ship and rolled his eyes as he walked to the back. There, he found Pip tearing apart pieces of equipment. What are you doing?
Aha!
Pip held up an old stabilizer ring pulled from a condenser.
And you were worried you wouldn't find one.
Caseus angrily grabbed the ring and looked at Pip. Well, you better hope we don't get stranded somewhere without water because you just wrecked the condenser for our evaporator.
So what? You need your weapon more than water right now. Once we get to Bespin, I'll find you a new one.
Pip, we don't have many credits to spare. We can't afford to break things for parts right now. Just do me a favor and don't touch anything.
Okay. I can see you're upset. I'm just gonna go, not touch anything.
Pip ran off as Caseus rubbed the side of his head before returning to the workbench. The condenser was pretty much useless now, so there was no sense in wasting the part he needed. Sitting down, he affixed it to the emitter of his saber and fastened it into place. As he continued to work on it, Liara came over to him.
The nav computer says we should be arriving soon. Anything I can help with?
Yeah, hand me the fusion torch over there. Liara handed Caseus the torch as he took a scrap of thin metal and carefully welded it over the hole in the saber hilt.
Caseus? Am I doing okay?
What do you mean?
In my training. Am I doing well?
Caseus set down his tools and turned to her. Of course you are. What's this about?
You really got hurt earlier. And all I could do was run. I wasn't strong enough to help you.
Caseus felt the fresh scar on the side of his face from Boba's blades, and slowly took Liara's hands in his. Liara, you are growing stronger and wiser every day. But you still have a lot of training to do. There'll be days like this where we get into trouble. We'll get hurt, and there'll be times where you feel you haven't done enough, or you don't feel strong enough. I don't want you dwelling on those thoughts, Liara. They'll burrow into you and sow seeds of doubt. I want you to know this. I'm very proud of you. Prouder than I've been of anyone or anything in my life. No matter what happens, I want you to remember that. You are my student, my apprentice. And one day, you will surpass me in every way. And I can't wait to see that day when it comes. Liara smiled as a tear rolled down her cheek, the tired eyes of her smiling master looking back at her. She had never known her real father. Yet here, in this moment, she felt as though she'd had one all along.
I won't let you down, Master.
I know you won't. Caseus returned his attention to his saber and examined it. It was a far cry from the pristine, shiny weapon it once was. But as he switched it on and examined the bright green blade, he sighed in satisfaction.
Hey, we're here! Exiting hyperspace now!
The nebula slowed down as Caseus and Liara stepped into the cockpit and gazed upon an endless sea of clouds, shining like pure gold under a breathtaking sunset. Liara's mouth was agape as she stepped closer to the viewport.
It's beautiful.
Caseus smiled and looked down at the nav computer. There's something up ahead. Something big.
That, my persnickety friend, would be Cloud City, the crown jewel of the Outer Rim. At least from what I've seen.
The clouds soon cleared as the crew of the Nebulous was greeted with a view of the large floating city in the sky. Caseus was amazed. He'd never seen anything like it before. Set down somewhere out of sight. I'll contact the rebels and let them know we arrived.
You got it, bucko.
Caseus groaned and went to the back, activating his holoprojector. Soon, the staticky image of Zenka appeared. Zenka, this is Caseus. Let Mon Mothma know we've arrived on Bespin.
Excellent. When you land, head to the miners' cantina in the lower levels. Our contact will meet you there.
Oh, okay, what do they look like?
Trust me. You'll know him when you see him.
Okay, then.
And be careful. The Empire doesn't have any presence out there. But that could easily change if you're not careful.
Understood. I'll be in touch. Caseus returned to the cockpit as the ship set down on a landing platform. Pip, stay with the ship and don't touch anything. We'll contact you if we need a pickup.
Or backup, right?
Pip twirled a small wrench in his hand as Caseus raised an eyebrow. Sure. Liara, let's go.
Okay.
Grabbing everything they needed, Caseus and Liara stepped off the ramp and onto the platform. Liara shivered a bit from the breeze as Caseus put a hand on her shoulder. Remember, low profile. Don't draw attention to ourselves.
Got it.
As they stepped towards the end of the landing platform, a uniformed deck officer stepped forward. Excuse me, do you have a permit to land here? Caseus raised his hand subtly to perform a mind trick, when Liara did the same and spoke up.
We already gave you our permit. You should take the rest of the day off.
The officer shook his head slightly. You already gave me your permit. I should take the rest of the day off.
Have a nice evening.
Yes, you as well. The officer walked off as Caseus smiled in surprise. You've been practicing.
All part of being a Jedi, right?
Caseus smiled and nodded as they walked towards the city. Liara looked all around. It was so regal and splendid compared to Dantooine. Caseus looked around and found a city map by a fountain. Okay, follow me. Stay close.
Got it.
Walking through the streets of Cloud City, they passed many different people. Some were dressed for work in the refineries. Others dressed in lavish clothing as though heading to a wedding or a party. Before long, they reached a turbo lift that would take them down to the mining levels. Stepping inside, they were lowered down to the point where the upper level of the city blocked their view of the evening sky above them. The mining level was much less luxurious than the upper levels, but certainly easier to navigate. Blending in with a small crowd, they soon found a small entertainment and dining district for the working class. It should be around here somewhere.
Is that it?
Liara pointed to an outdoor area with tables and a bar surrounded by drinking patrons. Looks like it. You're underage, so they're not going to let you in. I want you to wait on that bench over there and stay put. If anything happens, I want you to run back to the ship or get somewhere with a lot of people. Understood?
Okay. Don't take long.
I won't. Caseus made his way over to the cantina as Liara sat on a large bench, keeping the collar of her jacket turned up slightly. Walking around, Caseus kept his distance while keeping an eye out for their contact. Zenka said he would know him when he saw him. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, Underneath a heavy brown cloak, he saw a large bearded man staring at him. Weaving his way around the patrons, Caseus approached him. "Are you who I'm looking for?"
Follow me.
Before Caseus could respond, the man stepped outside and started walking away. Looking over to Liara outside, Caseus waved his hand to her, signaling her to follow. Liara got up and followed her master and the strange man as he led them to a long, dark alleyway and to a heavy metal door. Inside. Caseus was weary, but slowly stepped inside with Liara. "Okay, this is far enough. I want an answer. Are you who I was sent to find?"
We'll see.
Without warning, the man reached into his cloak and drew a bright blue lightsaber, swinging at Caseus, who quickly ignited his own and blocked the attack just in time. Liara quickly removed her lightsaber and activated it, ready to attack. "Who are you?" The man suddenly smiled and stepped back, deactivating his weapon. "I thought you were dead, Caseus." Caseus stared intently as the man removed his hood. A pale-skinned man with sandy blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Caseus recognized that face. The young Padawan he had met at the start of the war so many years ago. "Gaiadome. It's good to see you, Caseus. We have a lot to discuss."